On this episode of the Globe Sports Corner, we take a look at the renovations inside Goshen College's athletic complex with Andrew Jackson. I will sit down with Blanca Bodo and Sara Nino to discuss a huge upset on the road. As always, I will introduce the Everence Student Athlete of the Week, and Adam Snyder will keep you updated with the Maple Leaf Minute. That's coming up on the Globe Sports Corner. From inside the Globe studios on the campus of Goshen College, my name is Igor Sapucaia and welcome to the Globe Sports Corner. We have a great show in store for the 10th episode of this semester, so let's dive right in. Goshen softball swept Grace on the road last Thursday, winning 12-2 and 4-3 to extend their streak over the Lancers to 6 straight. In Game 1, Cameron Barrows had 3 hits, 2 homers, 4 RBIs, and 3 runs as the Leafs rolled to a 12-2 run rule win, with Tatum Adams pitching 6 innings, allowing 2 runs. In Game 2, Goshen came back from 3-0 down to win 4-3, with Adams striking out 4 in 3.2 scoreless innings and Hayden McGuire contributing 2 doubles and 2 RBIs. These wins improved Goshen to a 17-6-1 record in their last 24 matchups against Grace. On Friday the 13th, women's tennis pulled off a huge upset at William Woods University, defeating the number 19 in the NAIA rankings with the final score of 6-1. They swept all 3 double matches, including wins from Maureen Kawano with Vishmi Seraingi, Clara Fonte with Blanca Bodo, and Ariadna Otin with Sara Nino. In singles, Nino dropped just 1 game, while Fonte, Kawano, Dotsenko, and Bodo all picked up strong wins. Fonte, Bodo, and Nino now each have 10 or more singles wins this season. Finally, Bodo was named Crossroads League Women's Tennis Player of the Week. Goshen Baseball picked up a huge win over Bethel on Saturday, scoring 11 runs to take an 11-1 victory. The team came alive for 3 runs in the 4th inning, and key hits from Aiden Calvi, Nick Padron, and Chris Godin kept the offense rolling throughout the game. Calvin led the way with 2 RBIs and a double, while Mario Padron and AJ Carskilo also contributed multiple runs. On the mound, Adam Taylor picked up the win, pitching 3.1 scoreless innings to close out the game. After the break, we'll take a look at some renovations being done on both the inside and the outside of the Ruth Gundam Gymnasium, coming up on the Globe Sports Corner.
Goshen students enjoy an amazing record of success. What's the secret? It starts with hands-on learning experiences. Whether it's a service project in Peru, a sustainability semester at our Environmental Learning Center, or broadcasting for our award-winning radio station, it adds up to life-changing perspectives and real-world skill development that makes a difference to future employers. And it's all available at a campus that makes everyone feel at home. Come hang out with us and see for yourself. Schedule your campus visit today at goshen.edu/visit.
Welcome back to the Globe Sports Corner. Let's continue on with more Maple Leaf athletics with a look at the upgrades being completed by the athletic department. Andrew Jackson has the story.
The Roman Gingerich Recreation Fitness Center has beginning some massive upgrades. Chad Coleman says that he wanted to start this project for several years.
My office came over here in 2019 originally, and just interacting with some of the coaches and some of their wishes and struggles in recruiting, and just having this building identify with athletics a little bit more.
Brian Mast says that he and Coleman weren't the only ones involved, as a Goshen alumni helped play a crucial role in the making of these renovations.
We hired Isaac Sawatsky, who graduated last year, and it was a really cool process because he had some ideas for us to look at, and we kind of picked out what we liked, and then he refined them, and then we responded back and forth.
Even though the RFC looks complete inside and out, Coleman says that the job is not done yet, as work will continue in a few months.
The next phase, I believe, will be in the summer. We're doing some more painting in the gym. There's still some stuff on the underhangs under the track area to kind of blend that in with the hallway, and really leaning into the areas that the fans and the public see the most at this point.
Reporting from Globe Sports, I'm Andrew Jackson.
What a positive upgrade for the campus and for the branding of the gym. Coming up, I'll be joined by Blanca Bodo and Sara Nino to unroll the historic upset on the road from last week's performance. All that and more on the Globe Sports Corner. Welcome back into the studios for the Globe Sports Corner. Joining me in the studios are tennis players Blanca Bodo and Sara Nino. Blanca, Sara, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having us.
Well, starting with you, Blanca, you won your singles and your doubles match this weekend against a ranked opponent. How did all that feel? And you also were named Crossroads League Tennis Player of the Week. How did all that feel? Walk me through.
Yeah, well, it was so amazing. Like we had such tough matches and tough opponents, and it was such a rush. And when I was named Crossroads League Student Athlete of the Week, I didn't even know what that meant, at that time. And so I had to kind of do my research. But yeah, I was very happy. I told my family from back home, and yeah, I was very happy for the whole thing.
Yeah, now, Sara, you only lost one game in your singles matches this weekend, also against a ranked opponent. What was your mindset like going through that game?
Well, I think the mindset's always the same. You just gotta go there and do your best and remember what you've been practicing. The score wasn't in my favor, but I think it was a really good learning experience for the singles that came after. So yeah, I'm just okay with the result and happy to continue.
Yeah, now a question for both of you. Overall, what was the key factor to be so successful throughout that whole match?
Can I start?
Yeah.
I feel like we had to manage the wind very well because we had a lot of wind, and we're kind of used to it here in Goshen. It always gets so windy. And throughout all our matches, we had so much wind, and we had to kind of play, but also pay attention to outside things, So yeah, I feel like we were mentally strong, and we were also very strong considering all the extra circumstances that we had to play with. So yeah, I feel like that was the key.
Well, another big thing is that coach always tells us that on paper, teams are bigger than us, but we can always win. So just in our heads, just thinking we can do it. We have practiced, we have trained for this, and just going into the court and being as consistent as possible and just trying to do our best and leave everything we have on the court. I think it was a big deciding factor for our results.
Yeah, well, looking ahead, you guys have a really tough opponent today. You guys play number 10, Marion. What are the expectations like going on the road, playing such a big opponent again this Friday?
Well, we already played with the ranked team before, so soon ago, and we're just here for it. We know what it's like to play against tough opponents, and like Coach said, they're bigger on paper than us, but we can win. And the most important thing is to have good feelings on the court and just keep in our minds that we're doing our best and we're just trying everything we can and just have a fun time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like when you said expectations, we don't really have the expectations against the other team. We have it for ourselves to be fair, to be a good team, to be a good Goshen College tennis player on the court. So yeah, I feel like the expectations that we have are more towards ourselves than towards the other team. And I feel like we're ready.
We're here for it.
We're strong.
For sure, for
Let's
sure.
go.
Well, Blanca and Sara, thank you so much for being here today, and we wish you the best of luck throughout the season.
Thanks to you for having us.
After the break, we will take a look at the Everence Financial Student Athlete of the Week, and we will hear the rundown of the upcoming sports schedule for the next week with the Maple Leaf Minute. Stick around, you're watching the Globe Sports Corner.
So you just graduated from Goshen College? What experiences prepared you for this job?
Where do I begin?
Back in the studios, this is the Globe Sports Corner. It's that time of the show where we take a look at the Everence Student Athlete of the Week. Goshen Bowling wrapped up their season this past weekend. However, this week's title goes to sophomore bowler Cameron Fadinas. He finished 25th out of 172 competitors in the USBC Intercollegiate Single Sectionals Qualifier, rolling a total of 1,250 pins over 6 games. Just 91 pins shy of a top 5 finish in qualifying for the ISC National Championships. Congratulations, Cameron. Now let's dive into the upcoming week in Maple Leaf Athletics with your Maple Leaf Minute. We'll turn it over to Adam Snyder. Adam, let us know what's in store for GC Athletics this week.
Thanks, Igor. Today's men's and women's track and field will hit the road and head to Marion, Indiana for the Polar Bear Invite as both teams start at noon. Men's baseball will also be hitting the road this afternoon as they will travel to Marion, Indiana to face off against Indiana Wesleyan in a 4-game series with Game 1 starting at 3 p.m. and Game 2 following shortly after Game 1. Women's softball also travel to Marion, Indiana to take on Indiana Wesleyan with Game 1 starting at 4 p.m. with Game 2 starting shortly after Game 1. Men's and women's tennis will both travel to Marion, Indiana, as the men will take on number 15 Marion in their match starting at 3 p.m., with women taking on number 10 Marion with their match also starting at 3 p.m. Saturday, March 21st, men's and women's track and field will continue their trip at Marion for the Polar Bear Invite with both teams starting at noon. Women's softball hit the road for the second time this weekend as they travel to Mount Vernon, Ohio to take on Nazarene University with Game 1 starting at 1 p.m. and Game 2 starting shortly after Game 1. Men's baseball continue their series against Indiana Wesleyan as they play Game 3 at 1 p.m. with Game 4 starting shortly after Game 3. Monday, March 23rd, the women's softball team will host a 2-game series with Bethel University, with Game 1 starting at 3 p.m. and Game 2 starting shortly after Game 1. Tuesday, March 24th, the men's and women's tennis team will travel to Mishawaka, Indiana. The women's team will take on number 23 Bethel, with their match starting at 1 p.m. and the men's match will also start at 1 p.m. The softball team will travel to Huntington, Indiana to take on Huntington University with Game 1 starting at 3 p.m. and Game 2 following shortly after Game 1. The men's volleyball team will travel to Mishawaka, Indiana to take on number 12 Bethel University with their first set starting at 7 p.m. Friday, March 27th, the men's volleyball team will travel to Southfield, Michigan as they take on Lawrence Tech University, their first set time to be determined. The baseball team will travel to Winona Lake, Indiana as they take on Grace College with Game 1 starting at 1 p.m. with Game 2 starting shortly after Game 1. That's all for the Maple Leaf Minute. I'm Adam Snyder. Igor, back to you.
Thanks, Adam. And with that, we're signing off this week's episode of the Globe Sports Corner. For more Globe content, be sure to check us out on the web at globeradio.org and on YouTube at 91.1 The Globe. Check out our socials on Facebook and Instagram at 91.1 The Globe and Bluesky at globeradio.org. Also, check out the Globe Radio app so you can stream the Globe wherever you go without missing a beat. We'll be back in 2 weeks for the next episode of the Globe Sports Corner. Until then, for the entire Globe staff, for Adam Snyder, my name is Igor Sapucaia. Thanks for watching.